Greetings. It's Monday, November the 17th in the nearly over infamous year of 2025. I'm Thomas Caldwell of the Aurelian Column. This is the Monday Morning Report. It is getting cold, is it not? I like the cold. No insects. A lot of people aren't out. Trees are asleep. Very peaceful. But in some places, it's pretty hot, namely Mexico. No one saw this coming for some reason. At first, it wasn't being reported a great deal, but now it is, that over the weekend, a massive number of protesters, numbers are still hard to figure, tried to storm and almost succeeded in taking over the presidential palace down there, or whatever they call it. And Madam President, they don't like her. They don't like her at all. Lady has an interesting background. It's said that she's an atheist and ruling over a country of people who are more or less devoted Roman Catholics. That's a bad mix. Now, what does this really mean? Well, first off, Mexico has been a narco state for decades. It's been a mess. It's never been the most stable of countries. In North America, it was always the messed up little brother of Canada and the United States. But human beings, no matter who they are and where they are or what they're about, they can only be pushed so far. The crime, the killings, anybody who stands up and has an opinion that the drug dealers don't like is going to be killed or worse. And I won't go into some of the details of what they do to people down there they don't like. You're looking at a country that is starting a revolution. The people there are in revolt. If they've gotten to the point where they really are engaged in insurrection, unlike the mythology surrounding January 6th, where people thought that was an insurrection, no, it was not. Nothing close, but that's a discussion for another time. No, the lies that we're constantly subjected to, the incompetence of government, and not just in Mexico, but certainly in Canada and very certainly in the United States, there's a limit to how far human beings are going to take that. We like to live in safe, decent environments. That's our nature. How many animals out there love to live in fear and terror all the time, huh? Can you name one? Except humans? Doubtful. Now, the problem we're going to deal with down there is, unlike Canada, which some people are saying is ripe for revolution, yeah, but they don't have that many guns. They're not that violent. And right now, the Canadian government's doing everything it can to confiscate all the weapons. Yeah, I wonder why. Mexicans have a lot of guns. They might be illegal, but doesn't stop them. Now, if that country does go further down the chute than it already has, you're going to see real refugees crossing the border into the United States. And you're also going to see weapons coming from the United States into Mexico. A lot of Mexicans in this country, and in spite of a lot of them being illegal and a lot of them being rather vicious, the typical guy that gets a job as a gardener or hangs around at a Home Depot looking for work just to feed his family or to send money back home, of such people being angry are revolutions born. When the United States had its revolution that got set off at Lexington and Concord, you know what set it off? The British went to Concord. They were there to destroy a cache of weapons and ammunition. They didn't find anything except 2 gun carriages. They set them on fire, which proceeded to set the building on fire that they were there, and there was smoke coming up. And everybody in the surrounding countryside, they saw the smoke coming from Concord, and they thought the town was being burned, and all these farmers and craftsmen and other people that just wanted to live a decent life and mind their own business, they grab their guns and say, enough of this BS. And thus the American Revolution started, and it led to the changing of the world. I feel that we're at that point already. Now, the United States, Donald Trump is considered by many people that supported him to be basically a betrayer. He's more interested in helping Israel or going to war with Venezuela. A lot of the drugs don't come out of Venezuela. They come out of Mexico and Colombia. Well, he's in the back pocket of Israel. That's why you see the term America First, which has been taken over by the young Mr. Nick Fuentes, who was considered a fringe creature, fringe child off in the corner not that long ago, and now is front and center. You have people talking about making him president. I'm sorry, I have something to tell you. You got to be 35 years old to be president, 30 to be a senator, 25 to be a congressman. He might be able to be a congressman, but basically he's a guy who's a commentator. He has an opinion. One of the problems we have is we keep electing people into office that have opinions and don't have any competence of managing or running things. Governments require the ability to manage rather sophisticated, large, and somewhat dysfunctional organizations. We can't keep looking for someone to save us. Go back to the American Revolution. George Washington was the military commander, but he was one among many. They call those people the founding fathers, plural. There were a lot of them. And that's what we need now. We don't need just one strong man leading us out of the darkness. We need quite a few of them that are going to work together and play as a team. Mexico is going to go in a way that I predict will be unpredictable. Now, one of the problems we have is something I used to be a member of, and that was the mainstream media. Excuse the wind. Hold on there. Okay. The recent revelation, which was not really much of a revelation, that the BBC were editing the words of Donald Trump on January 6th, and everybody who was there saw that. And it's not just the BBC that were engaged in such activity. I saw Charlottesville being edited in a way that was totally inaccurate. They were showing members of the KKK at Charlottesville, and that was actually video at the time that was taken a month earlier at some other protest someplace. No. This is the problem, is the people that we entrusted to tell us the truth and give us accurate information so that we can make informed decisions about our lives and the future of our countries. Well, they're a bunch of lying punks, and that includes the BBC. Trump wants to sue them for $5 billion. Oh, go for it. But at the same time, I try to trump up federal charges on them, put them on an international wanted list. But at the same time, I would also look at all the other major networks in the United States: CBS, NBC, ABC, MSNBC, Yuck, and super yuck, CNN. I didn't like them back when I was in the business 30 some odd years ago. Whoa. This is why the alternative media has to stay accurate, and this is a criticism. Too many of the channels that you see are more interested in sponsorship and other endorsements, whether it be video games, survival supplies, or buying gold bars or gold coins. The U.S. is dying. Invest in gold. If you ever check into the history of recent civil wars, like the one that took place in Yugoslavia, they weren't so much interested in gold. They were interested in bullets, toilet paper, stuff like that. Canned food. Civil wars are nasty, nasty things. 2% of the United States population died in the American Civil War of 1861 to 1865. And the number who were traumatized back in the day when they didn't even know what PTSD was, whoa. Yeah, it was a mess. We don't really want that. So stop looking for people to come down from the sky, so to speak, and save you and to lead things. No. It's time that Americans began to stand up and question everything and be in the face of the people who are suppressing you. One of my favorite organizations in recent American history was AIM, the American Indian Movement of the 1960s and 70s. And although I don't really classify myself as a bleeding heart liberal, American Indians were really screwed over pretty bad, especially in the 20th century. In the 1950s, half of them lived in cities. They were pushed there. They wanted to mix them in with everything so they'd vanish. And that organization was put together by a handful of American Indians who were in prison who said, enough. We're going to fight back. And boy, did they ever. Check out the Wounded Knee Uprising and see how that went. Now, what did that lead to? An awakening. And that awakening actually led to what we see now. American Indians are part of our mainstream. They have a lot of casinos, resorts. But not just that, that's what you hear about. They have light manufacturing. A lot of them are into business, and they're doing pretty well. They're getting better. They still have problems. Who doesn't? But that's what it took. A handful of men. Some women too, of course. But a handful of their people said, enough, we're going to fight back, and we don't care if we live or die. When that happens, that's when you know good things are possible. Before you can have a field that can grow food, that can feed many, you sometimes have to burn it. And that's what I see is going to happen. It's the way of nature. So follow Mexico, but also really get in the face of the people who have betrayed us, the people that have used us. That includes the corporate bosses that don't care, the healthcare companies that don't care, the financial institutions that keep us in slavery in anything but name. That's the real news right now. Don't bother with celebrities about who's sleeping with who, or who's divorcing who, or who has a new diet, or who looks good on a beach in their bikini. Forget the celebrities. Throughout history, actors and actresses were down there in the gutter with prostitutes. The Epstein files, well, they're going to let us know what they want us to know. But now is the time when people are very much in a situation where we're going to have no place to go but up. Not going to be easy, but we've done it before, and we can do it again. That's it for today. If you appreciate my work, please like, subscribe, and share. Share with your friends, and share with your enemies, and never forget why they're enemies in the first place. I can be reached at feedback@aureliancolumn.com. That's feedback@aureliancolumn.com. I'm up on X. My handle there is MICCAMPEN. That's MICCAMPEN. This podcast originates at Substack. My handle there is aureliancolumn.substack.com. Until we meet again, be good, be safe, be vigilant, and remember, clown world, the deep state, and all those who wish to enslave you must be destroyed. Good day.